Tonight, outrage after 2 Indian women abused in public in a remote Indian state, and Iraq's quick response to another act of Quran desecration in Sweden. We cover stories about the confession of the man who attacked a Mississauga mosque, North Korea's warning of a nuclear strike, and the significance of the Islamic New Year. Assalamu alaikum, and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Catherine Bullock. A disturbing video showing 2 women paraded naked by a mob in India's northeastern state of Manipur has caused outrage. The video is from May 4th and has gone viral. It shows 2 women from the state's Kuki tribe paraded naked on the road and pushed into a field by a mob. Manipur police said in a statement that all out efforts are on to arrest culprits of the incident. They say a case of abduction, gang rape, and murder are registered against unknown armed miscreants, and an investigation has been launched. The police have made the first arrest as of today. Smriti Irani, India's Minister of Women and Child Development, calls the incident condemnable and downright inhuman. She said she spoke to the Manipur Chief Minister, who assured her that no effort will be spared to bring perpetrators to justice. India media reports that the federal government has asked social media platforms to remove the video. Manipur has been witnessing deadly ethnic violence for the last 2 months. Over 100 people have died, while thousands have been displaced. The violence started after a court ruling directed the state government to submit recommendations for the inclusion of the Meitei community in the scheduled tribe category. The ruling enraged the state's tribal population. A scheduled tribe is recognized by India's constitution and defined for their, quote, primitiveness, geographical isolation, and backwardness, amongst other attributes. There are 3 main communities living in the state: Meitei, Naga, and Kuki. Meitei are mostly Hindu. There is a greater percentage of Meitei in the state's population. On the other hand, Nagas and Kukis are mostly Christians. Sweden has seen yet another act of deliberate desecration of the Muslim holy book, the Quran. Despite protests against Sweden's official permission for previous acts of desecration, this provocation also took place under heavy police protection. Standing in front of the Iraqi embassy in the capital, Stockholm, Salwan Momika, an Iraqi-born man who now lives in Sweden, threw both the Quran and the Iraqi flag on the ground. He stepped on them and then wiped his feet on them. After the Swedish police gave permission for the incident, Iraqi authorities declared Sweden's ambassador to Baghdad persona non grata. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani directed his country's foreign ministry to recall its charge d'affaires in Stockholm. The Iraqi Premier's office said on Twitter that al-Sudani also directed a request to the Swedish ambassador in Baghdad to leave the country. The move came, quote, in response to the repeated permission of the Swedish government to burn a copy of the Holy Quran, insult Islamic sanctities, and burn the Iraqi flag. In conjunction with the Prime Minister's decision, the head of Iraq's Media and Communications Authority suspended the license of the Swedish Ericsson telecom company to operate in Iraq. Earlier today, Iraq threatened to sever its diplomatic relationship with Sweden if the desecration of the Muslim holy book, the Quran, occurs again in the future. Protesters in Iraq stormed the Swedish embassy in Baghdad and set it on fire early this morning in response to the desecration of the Quran in Sweden. The Swedish Foreign Ministry condemned the attack on its embassy in Baghdad, calling it a serious violation of the Vienna Convention. A man who attacked a mosque in Mississauga, Ontario last year has pleaded guilty. Court documents show the assailant, Mohammed Moiz Omar, has admitted to planning the assault for a year. He has admitted to the charges of administering a noxious substance with intent to endanger life, assault with a weapon, and mischief to religious property with a biased and hateful motivation. In a disturbing confession, Omar says he considered acquiring firearms or building a bomb to cause more harm to Muslims. He also admired a previous mosque shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand. The assailant attempted to obtain a 3D printer capable of printing a firearm. He says his intention was to carry out a mass casualty and that he was driven by a desire to intimidate Muslims. The assailant entered Dar al-Tawhid Islamic Center last year in March. He used bear spray and swung a hatchet at the congregants, yelling derogatory statements during the attack. The congregation managed to restrain him before he could cause serious harm. Later, police found knives, a cleaver, and a hammer in Omar's car. The attack caused damage to the mosque, requiring $16,000 for repairs. Several worshippers suffered minor injuries from the bear spray. After Omar's confession, prosecutors submitted a sentence recommendation of 8 years in prison. The sentence has been criticized by the mosque's Imam Ibrahim Hindi. He says such a lenient sentence is inadequate for someone planning mass murder. Canada has sanctioned a Wagner Group official who is believed to have led mercenaries in Mali. Another 38 individuals and 25 entities with links to Russia have been sanctioned. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly made the announcement today. Out of these, 20 individuals and 21 entities are associated with Russia's military industry, with Ivan Maslov of the Wagner Group being the most notable. Global Affairs Canada says Maslov is responsible for the massacre of civilians in Murat, Mali, that occurred in March last year. The remaining individuals and 4 entities facing sanctions are from Russia's cultural and education sectors. Global Affairs Canada accuses Russia of using national celebrities to promote the special military option in Ukraine through music and concerts. These sanctions are in response to Russian efforts to impose its cultural values in occupied parts of Ukraine. Canada has imposed over 2,600 sanctions on individual entities in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Moldova in the past 7 years. Sanctions mean Canadian individuals and entities cannot deal with those listed. Those on the list also have their assets in Canada frozen. For more on North Korea's warning of a nuclear strike, stay tuned. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is urging the global community to recognize the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus without delay. He was speaking at an official ceremony marking Turkey's peace operation in Cyprus since 1947. Turkish Cypriots hold yearly celebrations on July 20th as Peace and Freedom Day. Erdogan said, Turkey's efforts are to ensure that the peace it brought to Cyprus Island becomes permanent. He stressed that under the current conditions, a long-pursued federal solution on Cyprus was no longer possible. He promised that Turkey, quote, will not back down from our efforts to confirm the equal sovereignty of the Turkish Cypriots. Cyprus has been mired in a decades-long dispute between Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots. A series of diplomatic efforts by the UN to achieve stability over the years have not borne any result. Ethnic attacks starting in the early 1960s forced Turkish Cypriots to withdraw into enclaves for their safety. In 1974, a Greek Cypriot coup aimed at Greece's annexation of the island. This led to Turkey's military intervention to protect Turkish Cypriots from persecution. As a result, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus was founded in 1983. It has seen an on and off peace process in recent years. Turkey says it fully supports a two-state solution on the island of Cyprus based on sovereign equality and equal international status. North Korea is warning of a preemptive nuclear strike following the arrival of a U.S. nuclear submarine at a South Korean port this week. The U.S. nuclear ballistic missile submarine, the USS Kennedy, arrived at the port city of Busan for the first time since 1981. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol yesterday visited the submarine. In an apparent protest, North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles hours before Yoon's visit to the submarine. North Korea's Defense Minister Kang Sun-nam said in a statement that the presence of a US nuclear missile submarine could meet conditions for use of nuclear weapons, as laid out in the State Nuclear Forces Policy Law. Kang said the nuclear use doctrine allows proceeding with necessary actions if a nuclear attack on North Korea is imminent. He is calling the submarine tour the most undisguised and direct nuclear threat to North Korea. North Korea has launched 14 missiles this year. These include the intercontinental ballistic class Hwasong-15, Hwasong-17, and Hwasong-18 missiles, as well as its first military spy satellite in May, which crashed into the Korean Sea. The US and South Korea agreed this April to establish the Nuclear Consultative Group to discuss nuclear and strategic planning between the allies. One Love Family Services, a registered not-for-profit organization, is running a food and clothes drive for refugees in Toronto. The organization is accepting cash donations as well to cater to the immediate needs of refugees living on the streets. Around 200 refugees and asylum seekers have been on the streets. Although the federal government has promised a funding of $97 million, Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow says it is insufficient to meet the city's housing needs. Today is the second day in the new Islamic year of 1445. In 638 AD, Islam's second caliph, Omar bin al-Khattab, unveiled the new Islamic calendar, known as the Hijri calendar. To mark the new year, he used the day the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions had migrated from Mecca to the city of Medina. They were escaping persecution by powerful tribes in 622. The first month of the new year is called Muharram. Muslims adopt the lunar calendar for religious purposes, utilizing it to determine significant events such as Ramadan fasting and other Islamic occasions. During the month of Muharram, an essential event is observed on its 10th day, known as Ashura. The day of Ashura is significant across history for many reasons. It is the day when Allah forgave Prophet Adam, peace be upon him. It is the day Prophet Noah's Ark, peace be upon him, landed peacefully. It is the day of the miraculous splitting of the Red Sea for Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. It is also the day when the grandson of Prophet Muhammad was martyred at the infamous Battle of Karbala. The Islamic or Hijri calendar comprises 12 months. It is approximately 11 days shorter than the Gregorian calendar because it consists of 354 or 355 days. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Sound Vision, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.